causing hurt in committing robbery, dacoity with murder, common intention and criminal conspiracy. Now, the Damini case had shocked the nation. Apart from genuine protests in the parliament, on streets across India and widespread outrage, the case has also become a woman card for political parties ahead of the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. The UPA chairperson and Congress President Sonia Gandhi said that the young gang rape victim was tragically the symbol of women and children who suffer similar fate in the wake of denial of justice.
The barbaric gang rape of a young woman in the nation's capital has shaken the entire country. People are rightly demanding answers and action. This brave young woman in many ways embodied the spirit of an aspirational India. We will ensure that her death will not have been in vain.
All right, my colleague Nishtha is tracking every bit of that story. Let's go across to her. Nishtha, now the lawyers for the 5 men accused in the Damini gang rape case want the trial to be shifted to some other city. What more can you tell us?
That's absolutely right. You know, they have been saying outside this Saket court that they want to shift the trial to some other city because they're saying that they are not expecting a fair trial in this case because they're saying that Delhi police is not going to be fair to them, and they have seen in the past how in the past whole month, in fact more than a month, there have been protests everywhere in this particular case. There have been questions being raised. So much uproar this case has gained. So they are trying to see the benefit of doubt that the southern part of the country or a little smaller cities which are not metropolitan cities would not be knowing about such case, which is definitely not the case. We know that this case has been covered worldwide, not only across the country, and they have been saying for the sake of justice they want it to be transferred to some smaller city, and basically like he has specified Mathura and Coimbatore as we were speaking about in our story. But having said all of that, they have very categorically said that they don't want UP as a state wherein this case should be transferred, because we know the girl hails from UP, and also the UP laws as far as the bails are concerned and other procedures are concerned are way more stricter than what is there in Delhi. So that is one basic reason that they want this case to be transferred to some other city. But having said all of that, now today will be the first day of hearing in the fast track court, and the judge would be very Yogesh Khanna would be very specific about the fact that any application which they move to Supreme Court also or anything should not have an effect, because these can be seen as delay tactics by the defense counsel, because in this case we know there is very crucial details, 1000-page charge sheet, voluminous charge sheet, which speaks a lot about this whole incident. So any petition, any application going into Supreme Court also will be looked at very carefully for its merits. Back to you.
Right, Nishtha, and of course, speaking about the charge sheet, it is a voluminous charge sheet that you're talking about. Of course, the DNA investigation of the blood-stained clothes and also the body swabs, that is all there to link all the 5 men with the case. And also, the prosecutors say that their case is also hinging on the cell phone records and also the testimony of Damini.
That's absolutely right. This case has voluminous amounts of research, starting from the forensic report of the bus. That was one of the biggest evidence and the clue for the Delhi police, eventually through which they were trying to track. They tried to track down the whole case and busted all of this 5 people and also the 6 juvenile accused. So starting from the forensic report of the bus to the clothes and to the iron rod which was used to brutally harm both the male companion and also the 23-year-old. So all of these evidences and everything in detail would be starting to get into part of the arguments aside Saket court after today. Today we will know that there will be arguments on the framing of charges. The 1000-page charge sheet has been submitted to the Saket court sessions court, and after which after the arguments in the framing of charges, court will frame the charges on the 5 accused, and eventually the trial would begin. Yet we don't know how long will this whole procedure take, but there is a ray of hope that this case has been fast-tracked, so we can expect a little speedy justice.
All right, Nishtha, thank you so much for those details there. So the Delhi gang rape case is in a fast-track court today. Also, the Supreme Court will hear a petition to move the trial out of Delhi. other news, the revised rail passenger fares have come into effect from Sunday midnight. The hike in rail fares had been announced by the union government last week. However, the increase in diesel fare means that Indian Railways is all set to lose a major chunk of extra revenue it was expecting to earn from the passenger fare hike. Now, after the rail hike, the minimum fare would be 5 rupees. The revised fare will also apply to tickets issued in advance for journeys to commence on or after Sunday midnight. For tickets already issued, the passengers will have to pay the difference of fare. Now, looking at the fare hike, the fare increase is 2 paise for second class ordinary, 3 paise for 10 km second class ordinary, 4 paise for second class, 6 paise for sleeper class, 10 paise for AC chair car, AC first car and AC 3 tier, 3 paise for first class and 6 paise for AC 2 tier. However, the diesel hike will pinch railways hard. Indian Railways will lose 40% of the extra yearly revenue it had expected to garner from the fare hike because of the deregulation of the bulk diesel market. Now, remember, the railway accounts for a quarter of bulk diesel consumption. In overall diesel sales of about 90 million tons per annum, about 20% are bulk sales. Alright, my colleague Jaskirat is now joining us live from the national capital for more details. Jaskirat, of course, the hike in railway fare is going to be effective from today. But speaking about the railways, it had expected to garner some sort of profits by increasing the fare. But with the diesel hike, that is not going to happen, isn't it?
Well, any initial or any immediate estimation of garnering any profit is unexpected actually, and even the railways isn't expecting that. The reason being that this year the estimated loss that the railways will be facing would be up to 25,000 crore rupees, and they're actually looking at an annual revenue gain of 6,600 crore rupees as a result of this particular fare hike. Now, this fare hike comes after almost a decade in most of the classes. Of course, last year we saw a bold move which resulted in the resignation of one of the railway ministers, where at least 2 of the AC classes saw a marginal hike. Now, this particular hike comes at a very substantial and very interesting time because elections should be around the corner in about a year and a half, and this fare hike has actually affected a major chunk of the voting population. Now, what most of the people that I've spoken with say that it is understandable that in this given time, and understanding that what the railways is going through, a fare hike could have been expected. But at the same time, what they expect to see is an increase in the quality of service and the quality of travel and transit that they see in the railways today. They don't see that on the ground right now. However, if there is some visible change in the next year or so, the people feel that this particular hike could perhaps be justified. The pinch is actually being felt by the general population, not in the railway fare hike, but in the overall hike in the general cost of living that they notice going forward.
All right, Jaskira, thank you so much for those details there. So the diesel price hike has pinched railways really hard. Meanwhile, coming on to some international news now, the 4-day hostage crisis at the natural gas plant in the Sahara has ended. The Algerian Special Forces stormed the facility on Saturday to end the 4-day siege of the remote desert refinery. And the death toll from the bloody siege climbed to at least 81 on Sunday. Algerian forces searching the complex for explosives found dozens more bodies. They say many bodies were so badly disfigured that they could not immediately be identified. Now, Algeria's response to the crisis was typical of its history in confronting militants, favoring military action over negotiation, which caused an international outcry from countries worried about their citizens. Now, a freed British hostage has told Sky News that he feared that he had fallen into the hands of the terrorists after fleeing the Algerian gas complex, where he had been holed up for 4 days. Alan Wright spent days hidden in a pitch black room with colleagues at the Ain Eminas plant after hearing gunfire.
Around about 9:30, we heard the doors opening again, and someone came in. And a very friendly national voice said good morning, but not in English, in Arabic for good morning. And we're certain that was the terrorists coming in and just trying to lull people into to coming out friendly. So that was the first moment that you thought, we're in big trouble here. But they walked down the corridor obviously checking rooms, but the fact our office door was locked and they couldn't see in was enough to, they just walked out again.
And US President Barack Obama, who had won the recent presidential polls as a Democrat candidate, took his official oath on Sunday. Well, yes, Barack Obama has officially been sworn in for his second term as the US President in a small ceremony at the White House. Obama took the oath in the White House's Blue Room to meet the 20th of January date set out in the US Constitution. Given this fell on a Sunday, a public inauguration with pomp and circumstance will take place again today, that is on Monday. Now, Vice President Joe Biden was also sworn in for a second term at a small ceremony at his official residence earlier on Sunday morning.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend
the
Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. Thank you so much.
All right, time to take a short break here, but coming up ahead is Tech in You, so keep watching NewsX.
This week on Tech in You, we review the hybrid tablet PC from Samsung, the Thief Smart PC. In our gaming segment, we review Far Cry 3, and we show you the best and worst at CES 2013. Watch all this and much more on Tech in You, next on NewsX.
The most important opinion makers.
Where these common people will go, there will be a disaster.
The biggest issues that touch our lives.
We are destroying ourselves. India's story of growth.
The stories with maximum impact.
Battle against corruption will continue against the government.
Direct, unbiased, incisive. NewsX debate at these times on NewsX.
Fashion, aggression, obsession, and lots of adrenaline. The ultimate sports show at this time on NewsX.
Big Brother. Shah Rukh Khan, loaded.
I love Indian television.
Catch NewsX on various DTH platforms, cable networks. Get NewsX now.
Hey, so are you ready to play soccer, huh? Yeah, how about we do a warm-up first? Come on, line. Well, that's how my generation sweats it out, man. FIFA! Hello and welcome to Tech in You, and the man in suit is your host, Gaurav Preeti. And in this week's episode, we'll show you a tablet that turns into a notebook, Samsung Ativ Smart PC. Then we show you the best and the worst at CES 2013. And finally, we review Far Cry 3.
Now, these days, everybody is looking to buy a tablet. In fact, people who don't really need a tablet are also buying